Welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Now, public hearings on Quebec's draft legislation on a constitution have begun. They will stretch into next year. The Justice Minister, Simon Jolin Barrette, opened the door to broad public input after criticism that his bill was crafted in secrecy. Now, more than 200 people and organizations are lined up to weigh in on that draft constitution legislation. One of the groups that will be weighing in is TALQ, TALQ. You may know them by their previous name, the Quebec Community Groups Network. The group has already released a 22-page document explaining their opposition to the Constitution. They're warning that minority groups may have some serious concerns with Bill 1 if it goes through. Let's talk to Sylvia Martin-Laforge, director of TALQ, which stands for Talking, Advocating, and Living in Quebec. Sylvia, welcome back to the program.
Good morning.
So tell me about this 22-page document. Tell me about, the heart of your concerns on this Quebec Constitution.
Well, 22 pages in just a few minutes with you is hard. But, we're not alone in our concerns. We will be appearing at the end of February, and our brief is on our site, and we also held a webinar that over 100 people attended where Marion Sandilands, our constitutional lawyer, explained in good detail what this would mean, what this draft constitution would mean for Quebec. And there were questions, so I would suggest to people, if they really want to take the time, go and look at the I think it's about an hour. It's a long piece.
Sure, but Sylvia, listen, I think we can get to the heart of the matter here, right? I mean, if a publication like the Montreal Gazette can recap many of your top positions in an article, surely we can do so on the radio as well. So
yes.
What's at the heart of your opposition to this bill?
Well, one piece of the heart of our worry is that there was no consultation, none. This emanated from a report done by Maître Rousseau about a year ago. We knew this was coming, but there was no consultation. They only consulted with folks that were interested in their way of thinking. So a constitution cannot be crafted in that way. So consultation is a big part of what we are concerned about. So that's one thing. So for that reason alone, the bill should not go through.
Now, of course, like the government would say, well, this is exactly what we're listening to because we are doing this consultation with over 200 people and groups, and you're a part of that. So what would you say to that? That this is when the consultation begins, that dialogue you want to have is happening over the next few months.
So a consultation after the fact in reaction is not a true consultation. 200 groups and people, sure, fine. But then what? And we are reacting to something that is already on paper. The Barreau du Québec has said it. Other human rights organizations have said it. So the other piece of the concern that we have is in the content is that it strips it strips the people from working with the government. This is an act that is for the government and not the people.
How does it strip protections? Because one of the things I've heard argued is that it'll strip protections for Anglos, protections for minorities. How does this draft constitution, as written right now, do that?
So it's not just for Anglos, you're right. It's for all minorities. So it's the tyranny of the majority. Absolutely, the tyranny of the majority. And it's about who has the power. Who has the power? So they've shifted the power to the government. They've taken away the power from the executive, from the judiciary, and they shift all of the power. They centralize. It's not like it's much like any other bill that we have seen in the last few years. Bill 96 under the notwithstanding clause, Bill 84 last year. What they're doing to school boards around Bill 40, Bill 109. All of these bills are centralizing power in Quebec. Bill 2 around the doctors. Mm-hmm. Bill 3 around the unions. So it's the way the government is creating legislation with little or no consultation, or at least when there is consultation, they don't seem to be listening. We've heard that with the doctors. We've heard that with the unions. This is the same issue. So what we are seeing the government do is taking control and centralizing everything. Do we want a constitution that is that doesn't recognize minorities? Now, if you're talking about the English-speaking community, they talk about English-speaking institutions. Uh-huh. They barely talk. They talk as well about Indigenous groups.
And it is a brief mention, right, in the preamble of the Constitution, and that's pretty much it, right?
And that's right, and as well the Indigenous groups.
So let me ask you this: we're with Sylvia Martin-Laforge, director of TALQ, Talking, Advocating, Living in Quebec is what that stands for. Sylvia, I want to ask you about some people, and we had a segment on this program last week with Richard Walsh-Smith from the Greater Quebec Movement. And it seemed like he was far more open to this idea. He talked about this Quebec Constitution as perhaps a bridge for communities. He brought up the fact that, British Columbia, other provinces have had constitutions for decades now. So he seemed to be much more open-minded. It seems like your mind's made up on this. This was a bad idea from the start, and that it's going to be hard to convince you otherwise.
I think there's a range of views on this in the English-speaking community, but I think you will find that the task force on linguistic, the English school boards, and many others who have been working on and representing English language constituency would be on the other side of this, as is TALQ. We say things in different ways, but there is a relatively unanimous within the English-speaking community, a relatively unanimous perception that there was no real consultation, that we're not named anywhere in this Constitution, relevantly named, and I think that. Perhaps I think you have to think about, maybe 99% of the English-speaking community would be, in some ways, agreeable with TALQ.
Sylvia, can I ask you, TALQ? Who do you represent? If someone I'm asking you the question right now, but how do you answer that question? Do you say you represent all Anglos, broad collection? How would you describe that?
Thank you for that question. I think we represent, we are an important voice in the community. So for example, when we had our analysis by Marion Sandilands and our lawyer, if you look on our site, you'll see we shared points of our legal opinion with many of the groups that are showing up over the next 3 months. Many of the groups, and so our analysis was used by many of the groups to present their briefs. A sector would kind of look at it from their perspective, like the health sector or the education sector. But in general, we have convened. That's our role. We are a convener. And we convene as many people and organizations as we can around a view where we have some consensus. We might not say it all in the same words. Yeah? But we have a view.
Have any of the views of the group changed over the years? To me, on the top of mind is Bill 21. I remember how the community at large viewed Bill 21 years ago. And now when I have the discussion on this radio station with our listeners, you should see the text messages that light up that say, you know what, Elias, on this one, I agree with the government now. Like, has anything changed over the years, maybe, with your groups and how they view these various bills?
I think that we have to recognize that, there are evolution in thinking because of the results that we see. And that's okay, too. I mean, we can't all say yes all the time to one thing, but at least we talk. And that's why we changed our name, actually.
Yeah, of course.
That's why we changed our name. We are talking.
And it is apropos. Sylvia, listen, we'll be looking forward to what happens in February when your group does speak before the committee that's doing this consultation. So we look forward to that. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years. And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.